So I've recently started on building and painting fairies for Moonstone. Vesper was the first, like so. And then you've got the pirate fairy whose name I have forgotten. And I said I'd come back at some point and do more fairy folk. And I wasn't going to do any for a while. But number one, my friend Wayne, his daughter fields fairies, and they are pretty darn tough. And yeah, he's having a problem trying to combat them. So that makes them appealing. But also, I've just been listening to episodes of the Mooncast podcast, which is a podcast devoted to Moonstone. And they had on a guy by the name of Tom, who's one of the game designers and creators. And they were talking about fairies and just how cool they are. And it's got me all fired back up again. So here I am back with the fairy folk. Commonwealth fairy folk. Not the nicest of fairies. All right. So I've gone for these because these are interesting looking designs which can offer up interesting painting challenges. So you've got Butterfingers, which I know Lily, Wayne's daughter, uses because she tells me about Butterfingers. Wasp, who's like a warrior fairy, and Silvertongue. And I don't know anything. Tom was talking about Wasp, but I don't think, at least I wasn't paying attention, or I was distracted if he was talking about Silvertongue. I'm halfway through that episode about fairies. It's quite long. It's like an hour and a half. So maybe they haven't quite got round to it. What Tom did say, and I found this was interesting, because the fairy folk are small, you can't produce figures with just like Butterfingers just on the base. It would be too tiny. So instead what they're doing is you have a little piece of diorama with them. Didn't really need that with Vesper because she's got the flying stand. But yeah, Pirate Fairy, she definitely needed something. So I can see Butterfingers has got a tree stump. It looks like Wasp is on a mushroom and Silvertongue is on a branch. So let's get them out and let's have a look, if I can. Which, yeah, here we go. Come on, out you come. Sorry about this. There we go. So, 3 cards. Butterfingers. I think they're all going to be weaklings. Clumsy Klutz. Target gains weakling. That's good. You can turn even a mighty opponent into a weakling. Fizzle Pop. So it's X magical damage. Then he's moved 1 inch directly away. Oh yeah, Lily's talked about this. Butterfingers. Target loses possession of 1 Moonstone they are carrying. Place it in base contact with the target with a depth value of 1 inch. Okay. So Butterfingers. Yeah, I can see why that would be useful. This is the one I'm most interested in. Wasp, who's a fairy soldier. Butterfingers is just a fairy. He's a fairy soldier. Weakling, spiteful. When this model causes 1 or more wounds to an enemy, it restores 1 wound. Javelin, if this character deals piercing, increase the damage by +2. Buckler, enemy characters cannot count critical hits against this character. That's pretty good. Rage, target fairy loses weakling until end of the turn. Oh, that's good. So you could play it on yourself or any other fairy within 8 inches and throw the javelin. All right. These are cool. I do like these. And then Silvertongue, a fairy rogue. Okay. Feeble. Oh, he's not a weakling. He's feeble. Fairy mischief. Whenever a friendly fairy within 6 inches bluffs successfully, you may reveal the card and this character gains 2 energy and restores all wounds. Oh, that's good. Concealed dagger. Mind control. Target model immediately takes any action available to them that would normally have an energy cost of 1. This action is controlled by you, even if the target is an enemy. That's nifty as well. Yeah. Sorry, Wayne, I might be joining Lily. And let's have a look, see what we can see through the plastic. So tree stump, there's Wasp. So his body and legs and right arm are in one piece. God, those arms are tiny. There's Butterfingers. He's not that small. I was expecting him to be smaller. And there's Silvertongue. Just there. Ooh. Right, so, yep, the customary out the bag, snip everything off, give them all a washy bath. If there's anything of note, I'll stop there before assembly. If not, I'll come back with them assembled. Well, I started snipping pieces off the sprues when common sense prevailed. Look at the size of that arm and hand, and it wasn't until I'd snipped a couple off, and it's like, hang on, I could lose these down the plug hole when I wash them. So the rest of the small pieces like there, I've washed them while still on the sprue. Okay, so they've all had a good soapy wash. They've dried overnight, so now I can start assembling. So I've been doing some more Moonstone muttering when assembling them, because some of the pieces are very small. What I tend to do is actually have all the pieces inside a box lid, and then if I do drop a piece, you know, it's dropped into the box lid. With Butterfingers here, I was gluing on this left arm, and I put the super glue at the elbow socket and along the little groove there is on his belly to take the arm. And I was using my tweezers, and the arm pinged off. I watched it go. It pinged off and fell into an open drawer, right, which is full of tools and all sorts of crap. And I know it went in there, but I couldn't find it. And I just went through it all the way through, took everything out, all the bits of whatever out, and it wasn't until I got to the very, very bottom that I found it. I don't know how a tiny little piece of plastic can actually get under things. But anyway, I retrieved it. That's the main thing. Glued it on, and here's Butterfingers painted in white primer. Then we've got a tree. That's Butterfingers' tree. Not showing you the wings at the moment. Butterfingers has got his wings on, but these two, I'm painting them separately, and I'm spraying them black at the moment, ready for the paint finish. But Silvertongue is blue tack to his tree. And in fact, all the while he's on there like that, I might as well keep him on there while I put on the base coat. And yeah, my favourite of the three, which is Wasp, is complete minus the wings as well. You see there's a blob of blue tack there, just to keep the joining part clear of paint. So on with base colours, and these guys are so small, I'm going to be using contrast paints, speed paints to yeah, do the work for me, because these fellas are tiny. Well, there's been much more muttering. You'll have seen that Butterfingers was being held on a blob of blue tack, and while I was painting him, he started coming off the blue tack, so I just pressed him further down into the blue tack to secure him. Both his bloody feet snapped off. Luckily, they didn't disappear. I'm getting a feeling I'm being cursed with this fella. So, what to do? Well, number one, that's going to be a bit of a problem to glue his feet back on, especially as the super glue takes quite a while to set. But also I'm thinking, if I glue the feet back on, his feet have little lugs on the back which go into this branch on his tree. And it's like, well, if I glue them on, supposing they don't line up, I think the thing to do is actually glue the feet to the tree and then glue him to the feet, because at least then I know the feet are in the right position. So that's what I'm going to do. But before I do that, I think I'm going to at least paint this part of the tree first. Otherwise it's going to get all quite tricky. All right. So yeah, a lot of muttering, and maybe there's some muttering to come while I reattach himself. All right, but colour wise, on the box he's a greenish colour, so I've gone with that, and I've used contrast Gut Ripper Flesh. In all of these I'm using contrast rather than shades, because contrast paints do the work for you, you know, and that works really well on tiny detail, filling in the darker areas and pulling itself away from the higher areas. So yeah, I'm happy with him, even though he's lost his legs. Wasp, looking at him, there's just something about him that says green to me. So this is Mantis Warriors green, and there's something about his long-leggedness. He could be a mantis, and he is a warrior, so I figure that's entirely appropriate. I thought, seeing as he's called Wasp, what I'll do is, with his armour, do everything black and yellow to convey waspness. All right, and his wings, when I get round to them, they'll be a yellowy colour as well. And then, yeah, the last chap, there he is. Again, contrast paint's done an awful lot of work for me. And that's Dreadful Visage, because that's what he's got. Okay, I'm feeling a bit better about Butterfingers. Basically, I glued him to his right leg, stuck the right leg to the branch, and when that was almost set, stuck the left leg to the branch and lined the two up, and it's worked all right. So phew, I think all that's done. So with that done, I've got to paint round him now, the tree. I've just picked out the tree in Tomb King Tan, which is an army painter paint, and I did this on Gump, the Ent, and I'm going in the same way. I was pleased how that came out, so I'm going the same way. I've picked out his little wings in black, which I've got to paint gloss varnish, ready for the colour shift paints that his wings are going to be. And he's wearing a loincloth, and his loincloth is the same as this fella's. And what that is a really nice red called Resplendent Red from Army Painter, and I've washed it with Berserker Bloodshade, which has got me here. I just got to highlight it. Yeah, contrast paints do your stuff. I've now put a fleshy wash into his mouth, and he's almost ready. I'm gonna take him off the branch. As you can see, I've painted that tree as well, but I can't get in between, so he comes off now. I've just painted his toenails red, and then yeah, Wasp, I've just blocked in his the black parts of his armor is Black Templar. So we're cracking right on now. Okay, so Silver Tongue is off his tree, so I can paint it properly. So yeah, gonna start putting the contrast paints on them. Wasp has his black armor applied. As I say, black and yellow is going to be his colours of clothing, and he's got some sort of like skirt, so I've blocked that in with a yellow. Anything that's white now is going to be yellow. Going to pick out his top of his spear. I think I'm going to have that bone, or I might have it as flint. I'm not quite sure yet. So that's where we are, giving him some nice natty red mushrooms to stand on. And then yeah, wings. Okay, wings. Silver Tongues and Wasps wings are black, and I've coated them with gloss varnish. This is the rear of the wings. I figure what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the inside of the wings first, glue them to the models, then it's going to be easier to hold it if they're glued to the model. All right, so that's that. And then with Butterfingers, I've done his flying helmet, his loincloth's finished. I've just blocked in his little bag for picking moonstones up in white. And his wings, which are attached, of course, are have been given the same black and gloss varnish finish. So wings-wise, I'm going to use colour shift paints. I've said this all along. With me fairies, I'm not up to trying to do any sort of patterning, trying to emulate the fantastic work that you see on the official Moonstone figures and an awful lot of people's figures. I'm in awe of them being able to do that and having the time and the patience to do that. So I've got this set. This is the colour shift metal paints from Green Stuff World, and I've got this box set which I got ages back for my Games Workshop Seraphon army, and you get 6 colours. So I figure for Wasp, because he's black and yellow, I'm going to use Burning Gold for his wings. I'm going to use Toxic Purple for Silvertongue, because Silvertongue has a purplish tint to him. So I'm going to tie into that with Toxic Purple. And then for Butterfingers, because he's tiny and his wings are tiny, I'm going to go for Celestial Azure, which seems to be the brightest of the colours. Now, I know from before, the more coats of these you put on, the brighter it becomes. So I'm going to have to put on 2, 3, maybe even 4 coats before I'm happy with it. Or maybe only 1 coat on the inside and the outside of the wings be lighter. I don't know. Let's put a couple of coats on and just see what that looks like. Not too evident under the artificial light, but the trees have a number of colours on them, although the camera's just not picking it up. You see a little bit there. So what I did, I used these colours, that one, that one in all the deepest areas, and that one. And I just took some with my brush out the pot onto the palette and just dabbed a brush in one colour, put it on, then got another colour, mixed them together, watered them down. It's come out quite uniform. I might go in and just make them more distinctive. The Mortarian Grime was a greeny colour, which I put on the ends of the branches, like they're like, you know, new growths, but it's not picking out very well in this artificial light. But if I take it away, it is there. That is far more orange under the artificial light than what I'm seeing when I take it off to one side. So we'll see. Yeah, so wings wise, this is 3 coats for Butterfingers, and I'm going to be putting on at least 2 more because I want that brightened up a lot so you can actually see he's got wings. With the other 2, they've had 3 coats on the inside of their wings. So this is meant to be the lightest of the yellowy gold colours, and I guess it will if you add enough. And that's what I'm going to be doing on this side. So of course I've got to paint this side black and then gloss it and then go in. I've changed my mind. As you can see, I've added the yellow bits, and that's fine. I'm pleased with that. But his buckler that he's got on his left hand, you can't really see it. So I'm going to pick that out in white and do that in the same yellow as well. All right, so he is waspy looking. And yeah, Silvertongue, I had to stick back onto his branch because his wings are, you know, the branches between him and his wings. So I had to stick him back on his branch and then stick the wings on. Same thing again. I'm going to put a few more coats on that. I want it lighter than the inside. I mean, you can't really see that that's purple, but it is. All right, so that's what I'm up to. Work on the wings, start on the mushrooms, lighten up or dry brush the trees, and then I will return. It's a little bit later in the morning and the light is better, so I can go natural. So yeah, what I've done with the mushrooms is I've used 2 reds just to distinguish them a bit. That's Mephiston red. That's the same red as Butterfingers' little loincloth, and I've used an orange round the back. And all the fungi that's on the tree, I've painted pallid witch flesh. I've just highlighted it with Screaming Skull, and I'm going to finish it with Pallid Witch Flesh because I want it very light, ready for the dark wash that I'll be putting on them. And yeah, Silver Tongue gets a Mephiston red mushroom, painted his wings black, so just waiting for that to set so I can put some gloss varnish on. Ditto with Wasp. Okay, one last segment before the end. So the mushrooms were given different coloured washes just to distinguish them. The fungi are dark enough now. I'm going to put some gloss varnish on them to make them look like they're fungi and all icky. Butterfingers has had another 2 coats of metallics on his wings, so they're getting brighter and brighter, which is good. And then here we are with Silver Tongue. He's had 2 coats of colour shift. I want to put at least 2 more on. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is with Butterfingers mushrooms, there's bumps already sculpted on. I'm going to paint them white, and the red ones on the other bases I'm going to get a cocktail stick out and dab little white dots on. And then with Wasp, he's had 2 coats of his colour on the wings, and they're not very bright at all. I'm going to have to put another like 3 or 4. I want them lighter than that. The colour on the colour chart looks like it's a very bright copper gold, but it's not. If anything, the purple one that looks the darkest is the brightest. So yeah, once I've done all that, once I've put the scatter material on the base and painted that, I'll be done. So I'll come back when I'm done. Here we go, all finished. Great fun as ever with Moonstone. Rather fiddly, but no, great fun, and I'll be sure to be doing more of the fairy folk. I've learned a couple of lessons though whilst doing them. For one, what appears to be a light colour shift paint doesn't turn out to be. That's about the brightest we get, but he is rather mean looking, this fella, is Wasp, so I guess that ties in with him. My favourite of the colours that I've done is the blue for Butterfingers, which is lovely. That looks like a proper blue bottle wings, and I'll be for sure using that colour again. And yeah, Silver Tongue, looking now I've painted him and now he's under camera, looks rather disturbingly like a vilified ex-BBC presenter. Oh dear. But yeah, I like the purple. Although it's appearing green here under the artificial light. Well, the colour is shifting. So yeah, I'm going to be doing more of the fairies, but I don't know. I don't know when. At the moment, I've just started a new large goblin, so he will be coming along within, I don't know, shouldn't take too long, within a week or so. If you like the old Moonstone figures, stay tuned, because yeah, I'll be back with him soon.